going to talk about some things that I've never publicly talked about on video. Now, I must preface the things that I'm about to share with you, or better yet, the revelations that I'm about to share with you by stating the following. I am by no shape, form, or fashion trying to promote fear. I walk a fine line when I talk about certain subject matters because I already know that there are those who will interpret my pure intent as something totally different from what it is. I understand that there are people who are out there who live in fear and who will grasp or take hold of the first thing or the least little thing to create a fear fest or one of those I told you so moments. That's not what I'm about. I am a vessel and I have been given a gift for a reason. And I would be doing myself and you guys and anyone else who's interested in this kind of information a disservice by sitting on it because of concern that someone would take it out of context or that someone would take something so pure and honest and turn it into something dirty and ugly. I was having a discussion with my good friend, my best friend, and she was telling me of a story that she read, and some of you guys may have heard about this story, where this young woman was leaving from a nightclub, and she was walking down a back way, an alleyway, to get to her car, and these group of men, there were 3 men that seemingly came out of nowhere, and they were following her. She immediately felt that she was in danger, and she had become petrified with fear. And so what she had done was stop in place and sent out a prayer. And the story goes where these guys, as they approached her, they stopped and looked up above her head, and they all looked terrified, and they immediately ran the opposite direction. Come to find out that the men later came forth and they spoke of this giant being who appeared behind this young lady after she prayed for help and protection. This giant being appeared behind her. She was totally oblivious to this, but those who meant her harm saw this being, and they described the being as being so tall that the young lady came to the being's kneecap. They didn't know what it was. They said it was pitch black, and the face, it had no face. It was just white, bright light beaming from the face, and they said it had what appeared to be a giant sword in its hand. There was only one who came forth to talk about what they had seen. The other 2 guys didn't want to talk about it for fear of being ridiculed or seen as crazy. Now, this is the preface for what I wish to talk about. These beings. I know exactly what they're talking about. I have seen these beings. These beings are what we call Syrian warriors. There is nothing new under the sun, family. I went this year to see X-Men, their latest installment. And if you guys have not seen it, it's a very interesting movie. And there is a point of reference that ties into what I'm talking about here. There were these killer beings created to destroy the, I want to say the X-Men, but the mutants, that's the word I'm looking for. Within that context, there is this pro and con. The pro is that the X-Men or the mutants simply want to live and cohabitate with humans, but then you have the cons, the other side, who are those who see the mutants as a threat to humanity, or better yet, a threat to their power structure or their control. But I'm not going to go there. So this scientist came up and created these beings called the Sentinels. This is part of what the beings that I'm describing is. Again, art imitating life. Nothing new under the sun. Obviously, whoever wrote the scripts for these movies, or who the writers, they're tapping into something, or it's being channeled to them, or somebody clearly knows what's going on. The other point of reference I would like to use is Thor. There was in one particular movie installment a being that they called the Destroyer. Now, if you can take the Sentinels from X-Men and you take the Destroyer and put them together, but instead of it being something technologically created, turn it into something that is spiritual, made up of substance that we have yet to grasp or understand. This is what a Syrian warrior is. Their outer form is like a combination of black, metallic, plasma. It's like a plasmic type of makeup. They're very muscular and tall in form and masculine in form, but yet they are androgynous. They're really neither male or female. They don't have distinctive facial features. They don't appear to have facial features. They are light turned inside out. This is why when the male who came forth to talk about what he saw, when he said there was this bright light beaming from the face, this is really what the being is in its totality. But again, it is light turned inside out. These beings are Syrian warriors. They are protectors. They are here. They can step into or shift their vibration and frequency and step into this realm of existence and interfere when there is a potential for someone who has a greater purpose or mission, when there is a potential that that person will be greatly thrown off path. They can step in and intervene, usually by intimidation, because they don't really have to do much to get other humans or put other humans in check. However, they are here to protect against other non-human beings who have an awareness and power that is beyond what we currently understand within our limited 5 senses. These beings are battling on the astral realm. They don't carry swords per se, but they can use their form, and just like in the movie X-Men shows, they could shapeshift and create whatever they need with their own makeup, with their own form by thought. They don't have eyes because it appears that their entire body is one massive all-seeing eye. These beings are very real. Some of us, when we talk about shadow beings, I've talked about shadow beings in a previous video, but sometimes, not all the time, sometimes if you see a giant being that appears to be in all black, it very well may be a Syrian warrior who is simply on guard, protecting you and us against negative, very powerful, negative, antagonistic, conning forces. Now that's the good news. This is very positive. Again, I know there will be people who will somehow turn this into a negative, but I'm not really speaking to those people. Those who have ears will hear, and those who have a heart, you will feel. You are who I speak to. So when and if you see these beings, know that they are there as a protector. Now, the astral battles are very interesting. I have seen several. I have been in some. Now, some may look at me and see me as mild-mannered and loving and kind and friendly, and that is what I am. However, just like all of us, there is another side. It takes a lot for that other side of me to come out, and he does not play. Let me tell you, it's like Superman. By day, he's mild-mannered, easygoing, may even appear to be passive and a wimp, but when he pulls off the disguise and the cloak, he's a super being. This is what we are in our truest state. I have been in the altered state or altered version of me, and like I said, it takes a lot for that part of me to come out, but he is no joke. No joke. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. So when I've been on the astral realm and in the midst or perceiving or seeing or participating even in some of these battles, let me tell you, there is a great concern by those who have had it their way for a very long time. And understandably so. We are moving into a new paradigm, and the opposition is pulling out all stops, everything within their arsenal to hold on to what they believe is their power, their right, their birthright. And this leads me into my next discussion. Two-way mirrors. Again, nothing new under the sun. For those of us who may not know what a two-way mirror is, look it up. I don't want this video to be too long, but often we think of two-way mirrors as part of a scenario or scene where a cop is interrogating a suspect or a potential criminal, and there are those standing behind a two-way mirror looking at body language and observing what is going on from a neutral perspective, supposedly. So again, we have an example with the two-way mirrors of the material plane and those of us in the material plane taking technology and replicating the spirit world, as we have seen in the movies when beings are created, or even on Earth where beings are being created through technology, robots, and so on and so forth. The two-way mirror is a replica of what happens in the spirit world as well. There are beings who work on the astral plane. The astral plane has many, many layers. Just like this earth has many, many layers. There's more to earth than what we see with the five senses. There are beings on the lower astral realm who use mirrors to project a thought and to hypnotize beings who are on earth, to cast spells on beings who are on earth, to possess the minds of beings who are on earth. Now, they are only effective or ineffective with those who have a weak auric field or crack in our auric field. Those of us who are basically compromising ourselves to the point of not being in control of our own mind. This is why within this society, so much self-debauchery, so much violence and negativity is encouraged. This is one of the reasons, because these beings who operate and work outside of this realm of existence have alliances planted here. And their alliances and their puppets and agents, it is their job to generate more of what they need in order for them to do what it is that they are doing and have been doing for thousands of years. And that is creating an environment where the earth stays at a certain frequency level, because as long as the earth stays at a certain frequency level, humanity stays at a certain frequency level, because for the time that we are here, we are one with the earth. That's why we call her Mother Earth. She sustains the physical form. She gives it life. And so there are beings who can pick up on our energetic signature and imprint and can see when we are compromised. They can see when we are harboring a lot of rage. They are attracted to that. They can see when we are harboring a lot of bitterness and jealousy and malicious intent. They are drawn and are attracted to that. So when one gets in a mirror and there are stories of such like this, and you see something look nothing like you, this very well may be a being who's operating from the astral realm, who is projecting or trying to cast a spell or possess your mind to get you to do something that they need energetically to happen. It's all about harvesting energy and harvesting souls. This is the game we're dealing with here. So the best defense against this kind of infiltration is to raise our vibration, strive for balance, stand up for justice. We need to stop being passive when we see an injustice being done in the world and to one another. Those days are gone. We have to stop poisoning our bodies. Now, this is really difficult to do because even those of us who are the most healthiest, we're going to receive toxins either way. But as we strengthen our body and balance ourselves and raise our vibration, it strengthens our immune system too. And do not forget that we are also mutating. The human body is an amazing vehicle, and we can help it do what it does amazingly by making a concerted effort to keep our vibration strong and to not let the madness that we see playing out. Again, a lot of this is being manipulated by forces who are not even on this earth. But we stay in our truth, not anyone else's. When we stay in our truth and strive towards reaching our greatest potential and deal with our stuff, handle it, deal with it, face it head on. Avoid the alcohol. That's another method in which they can come in when we are drunken or drunk. Because when we are drunk, we're no longer in control of our mind. We are like open vessels. Drinking, doing drugs, abusing our body through the sex act, which I've talked about before, is another portal or another way in which opposing forces can use and take basically your power or our power. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want this video to be too long. It's some food for thought. Again, family, we are far more powerful than meets the eye, and there is definitely more to us than meets the eye, just as with everything else. And the only way to really tap into and understand this, we must come outside of the box. And many of those boxes that we are in, they are self-imposed. We have a choice. Step out of the box and let go of the fear and explore all of our greater potentials, or remain in the box, sleep on our power, and allow opposing forces to harvest, cultivate, and use your power. It's your choice. On that note, keep it growing and flowing.